Hello, second graders, Miss Letchworth here. And today I want to remind you about how to write a paragraph that compares and contrasts two fables. If you have not yet listened and watched the video from your teachers or the CMS checklist, please pause and do that now. I provided a link below this video. For my example, I will be using the same format as the video you just watched, but I'm going to compare and contrast two familiar stories that you've read in your learning in the past couple weeks, The Bear and the Bee and The Lion and the Mouse. There are some different story elements I want to consider as I think of similarities and differences between these two stories. I want to think about the setting, the problem, the characters, the events of the story, particularly how the stories end, and then the lesson or message that they provide. Then I'll be ready to write like an author about how the fables were similar and different. I can use the journal page provided in my packet. I can also use the page that my parents printed off for me from day 20 or a separate sheet of paper or notebook. If you're using a separate sheet of paper or notebook, I'd suggest drawing a line right through the middle across so that the top box can be for similarities and the bottom for differences. Now, as I said, I'm going to use the two stories that you have read, The Lion and the Mouse and The Bear and the Bee, and first consider the settings of both of those fables. I think they are, in fact, exactly the same. So the sentence I'll write in the top box of my paper might be, the settings of both The Bear and the Bee and The Lion and the Mouse are similar because they take place in a forest. My next step is to write about the problems of both fables. Now, I saw similarities and differences here. So I might say in my top box that the problems in both fables had to do with hunters. Then I might move down to my bottom box to focus on the differences. Or I could just focus on the differences and write those in the second box on my page. I might write, in The Bear and the Bee, the hunter was going to shoot the bear. In The Lion and the Mouse, the hunter trapped the lion in his net. Of course, you might see other similarities and differences that you would add instead. Next, I'll look at the characters of both fables. Now, it's simple enough to say, in The Bear and the Bee, there was a bear and a bee. In The Lion and the Mouse, there was a lion and the mouse. But I want you to stretch your thinking and instead talk about the characters' actions in the story and how those were similar and different. I saw similarities, and I might write in my similarity box, in both stories, the large animal thought the small animal would not be able to help him. The small animal promised he or she would help someday. Next, I want to consider the plot or the events of the story, particularly how the story ends. I thought these stories were very similar in their endings. So in my similarity box, I would write, in both stories, the small animal helped the large animal escape the hunter. And last, I want to write how the lesson or message of the story was similar or different. To me, these fables had the exact same lesson. So in my similarity box at the top, I would write, in both fables, the lesson was that even small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Now, my note for you here is that if you, like me, found a ton of similarities in both of your fables, or if you found a lot of differences and you are running out of space, please don't stop writing. Flip that page over, go to a new one, and continue to add to your thoughts, even if you run out of space. And that is an example of what your teacher or I will be checking for as you compare and contrast fables on day 20 of your assigned paragraph for content. Great effort.